What's up, guys? Hope y'all are doing well. We're gonna take a look at XRP today, DXY, Bitcoin. We're gonna also take a look at some setups uh, that that can potentially have a nice run to the upside. We do see XRP coming up here out of this wedge. If we go on the 30-minute time frame, what I'm seeing right here, it looks like there's a lot of demand on the upper ends of this range over here on the 30-minute. So I'm thinking we see a move to around 2.11 to around this weekly open right here. If you get above 211, then we should go ahead and go towards 220. Get above 220, then we're going to take out this 4-hour fair value gap, see a little bit of a retrace. And then what I'm thinking is we move up to this 786 at 269, but we would also need to see Bitcoin follow through as well. Now, when we take a look at Bitcoin, it's a very similar structure, right? You have, when you take a look on the high time frame, you have an ABC down to the 61.8% fib from this run to the upside. You have 3 floors here, and yeah, same concept. If you get above this range, then we're gonna likely tag this yearly open. I'm seeing a move to the 200-day, like around here, at 87.7. But yeah, we'll see. Good morning. Hope y'all are doing okay. Let's take a look at some of your requests today. Okay, this is the DXY. Okay, so this is the S&P 500. We're going to see how it opens today in about an hour. And it's still holding the 38.2% fib here. We actually had a piercing line reversal pattern on the weekly time frame where this week's candle pierced the low of the previous week and then closed back up violently like this, over 50% of the way. So we'll see how this week plays out and how it closes. But if it closes like this as a doji, then that would mark indecision, right? But so far, this candlestick pattern looks good here on the weekly for the S&P. So there is still a possibility that this was a wave 4. The only thing is that we would need to see some resolution upwards here. And we do have a little bit of a rising wedge here. Kind of looks like Bitcoin, actually. Or I should say Bitcoin looks like the S&P. Right, so what if this was your wave 1, 2, your 3rd, 4th, and then you have an extension of the 5th right here? Or we come down to make a truncation of the 5th down to the 50% at 4,812, and then we pop up from there. Let's see. We're still targeting this gap over here, as mentioned in the previous live stream, at around 55.07 and 56.34. So we'll see how this plays out. And yeah, this could be a wave 4 here. And this wave 4 was deep because this wave 2 is shallow. and like it was very simple. You see how simple this ABC was, right? And you can see how oversold we are here on the daily RSI. Like this is more like the RSI on April 8th wick down into extreme oversold territory, actually more oversold than we were over here back in September to October 2023. Even more than the start of the rally back in September 2022. You see how low this RSI reading went on the daily? Extremely low. So we'll see. Okay, BTC. I think it's going to reach for the highs of this range. Let's see. Like when we take a look at the liquidation heat map right here, you see we have about 154 million or $166 million in liquidations at around 86.5. So if we were to go to 86.5 on the chart, that would be just underneath the 200 day. So I'm thinking we wick to the 200 day, maybe even tag this equal high buy side liquidity. You see how we have equal highs over here? And then we come down for a retrace, or we have a continued move up towards EQ, measured from our January high, and that would also be yearly open, and that would be sitting at around 93,500. So let's see, which way will she break? Will Bitcoin break the lower bounds of the range first and take out this liquidity right here on the heat map, or will it go for the highs first? I'm thinking it tags the highs. So let's see. So Satilla is saying S&P up in futures trading. All right, cool. Let's see. Let's take a look at ES. We'll take a look at ES NQ. See what that's doing. Okay, we can see that ES came down to around the 61.8% fib. It's just above daily open. I'm trying to look at the sessions, but it's only showing me London. That's so strange. It's so weird. But yeah, I think it's going to come up to tag this weekly open here at 5,452. Because we've painted this section right here. You see how we're having a healthy price action coming down to paint it each time, right? You see that? And then you have this up here. Let's take a look at XRP over here on the 30-minute time frame. And yeah, it looks like it's reaching towards the highs as expected. We're just underneath monthly open, sitting at around 2.09. I think it's going to come up to these highs here at 211. We'll get the get momentum in. It's likely we're seeing momentum because we're in just the start of New York session here. But if you take a look at XRP here, you can see that this is just a reaccumulation structure and we're holding above the 200-day moving average. There is a possibility that XRP, if it goes below $2.02 to $1.99 on the 4-hour, then it'll likely wick below the 200-day moving average at around the 50 to 61.8% fib support. That would be sitting at $1.92 and $1.83, and then it would likely wick back up above the 200-day. If we were to lose this region, if we don't lose that level, then it's likely we're going to come to this level over here, 211 to 220. Okay, once you get above 211, then it's likely we're going to go to 220. If you lose $2.04, then we're going to come to this green region, right? That green region would be the 702 and the 786 at $1.99 to $2.01. So these are the two trajectories that I see. And yeah, it does look like we are squeezed, because if you take a look at the 3-day stock RSI, you see how we have bullish divergence here? We're making slight lower lows here, although the 3-day stock RSI is forming bullish divergence. You also have this trendline liquidity, so you have traders placing their stop above this trend line. So price is likely to be gravitated above this level, right? And then if you take a look at the weekly time frame, like I was showing in the last stream, we wicked below the 200-day, but we never closed below it. Like, look here. You see that? Oh, Mina's saying markets only open till 12 p.m. Good Friday. Oh yeah, right. Okay, let's take a look at CRV. Let's see here. Okay, this is CRV. CRV is back above the 200-day moving average. And although the 3-day stock RSI is at the highs, it is signaling that there's strength, right? Like taking a look at CRV here on the 4-hour, super strong. As long as it holds above this 200-day moving average. So what you have is you have a break of structure, right? Because you break below these lows and then you come up and you take out these highs. You see this equal high buy side liquidity. You take it out and you have a change of character, come down towards extremes, which is the 786. You see how we perfectly came down to the 702, 786, and then we had a fall to the upside, taking out this high. So very, very bullish structure. It looks like it's front running actually. And that's what I said, like if the market is very uncertain and you see coins doing stuff like this, that can give you the signal, right? If you just see a few coins that are front running, you can kind of get a signal on, oh, okay, yeah, market is bottoming out, it's trying to find its bottom. And then once we got above this high, we did wick into high time frame supply, which is this daily fair value gap right over here. Now, it doesn't mean it needs to stop here because we also have some inefficiency over here at around 70 to 76 cent. Okay, so it's either this is when you take a look at it on the 10-minute time frame, you can make a bear and a bull case, right? You could say that this little structure right here is distribution and that it's gonna come down towards the retracements before heading higher, or you could say a bull could say it's reaccumulation. So you would want to keep your eye on this small time frame range right here, right? Same concept with XRP, right? If we lose the bottom half of the range, then we're just going to come down for a little bit of a retrace, and these would be the fibs for the retrace. Okay. So around EQ to around 0.528, if this was a little distribution structure, and then it would look like this, right? So if we lost the low of the range, it would probably come down to EQ and then see a pop back up, or even tag this monthly open at the 618, right? This depends on what Bitcoin does from here. If Bitcoin goes up here, right, goes above these range highs and tags the 200-day at 87.8, then yeah, CRV will go up. And instead of doing this, it would likely be reaccumulation, this small range here. But CRV is really bullish on the high time frame as well. These would be the wave 5 targets. Okay, so we're looking at the 702 and the 786 on the log scale, and then we'll also take a look at it on the linear scale as well. We can take a look. So this is the 618 on the linear, and this is the 786 on the linear. Okay, so these 4 levels here are your take profit levels, not financial advice, for the 5th wave, because we only have 4 over here, right? There you go. And you see how the trend-based fibs perfectly line up with the regular fibs. Like, look at the confluence over here. Your one-to-one extension is in between the 702 and 786 on the log. And then if this is a wave 5 extension, which it likely will be, because you tend to get these kind of wave 5 extensions in crypto because it's such a highly over leveraged market and there's so much FOMO. So what I've seen is the wave 5 does come to around 1.236, 1.382 extension on the trend base fib. So yeah, lots of confluence around these two regions. So that's CRV. So this is Dent over here. And I said I was going to show you this indicator that I'm using. This indicator is good to track momentum on the 4-hour, hourly, daily, and 12-hour. Okay. This is what it is. So it's called CM Ultimate. You can pause the video and take a look, but yeah, this is the indicator right here. Right here. It's good to track momentum. And we're currently above it, so we'll just see what Bitcoin does here. Does Bitcoin go up? And that would cause the rest of the alts to see a little bit of a push higher. Take a look at let's take a quick look at PulseX. Okay, so PulseX is looking good. I think it actually looked like it came back up to this demand zone over here. So we've been tracking this structure for about a week now, and it's just been oscillating back and forth. But as soon as you get above this trend line over here, which is this historical trend line that we've been using for about 568 days. As soon as you get above that level, then we're going to head towards this point of control. And I'll show you exactly how I found the point of control. We'll take a fixed range volume profile tool and just place it over this whole range. And you see it's around this level, right? This is the POC. Get above this POC, then it's likely we're going to head higher. Now, if we can get Bitcoin to go up here and ETH bottoms out at the 702, 786, let's take a look at this ETH Bitcoin pair here. We could have a bottom, because look where it is. It's right at the 2019 lows. So, pretty significant. Okay, this is ETH. Now, taking a look at ETH, if you take a fib right from the low here on June 2022, up to this high here on December 2024, you see how it wicks below the 786, takes out this sell side, and then regain support back above it. So it takes out this sell side from October 2023. Yeah, right here. You see that you see this structure? Remember I was saying whenever you see three floors, it's likely accumulation. Look what we have here on ETH in 2023. This is your first floor of price action, second floor, and then this is your second floor, and then this is your third floor. And then look at that. And that's exactly what BTC is doing, right? First floor, second floor, third floor. Now we just need to see price sustain itself above these supports. But yeah, coming back to ETH over here, it's holding support above the 786. I want to see us get above this daily momentum indicator right here. That would be at 1,666. If we get above that level, right, and then get support above 1826, it should get interesting. Okay, let's take a look at ES over here. This looks like a trendline liquidity sweep over here. This sweep over here on ES. You see how it just does this, takes out the liquidity, and then runs. So we would want to see a break above this level here at 53.57. Otherwise, we'll come down to 52.79 to take out these lows. So let's see. But yeah, coming back to PulseX here, if we get above the point of control and then make our way to the 786 and the 702, just getting here alone would be sufficient enough to say that the low is over here. And I actually think Richard Hart was buying. I'm not sure. They were seeing his some activity in his wallets or something like that. So yeah, maybe he was buying this deviation. But yeah, targets would remain the same. Targeting the 4.236 extension at 40562. That would be around 24x. If this is the bottom, right? So from current prices, it would be about a 24. Let's take a look at QNT. I like QNT. Yeah, so this is QNT here. I'm just going to put the grid lines on the chart so you guys can see a little bit better. But yeah, this is QNT here on the 2-day time frame. And this is what I see. This low can hold here at 57.6. But if Bitcoin goes lower, then we should see a little bit more of a push down to around 52 to 47. But I think even coming down here, this low, that would be very oversold. Now, this is just a scenario that I have in mind. I think that QNT is gonna hit $2,000 one day, but in order to get to that price, we would need to see a bigger wave 4 base. That's just an idea and theory I have in mind, but I mean, if we get above 726 to 789, then we can rule out that this was just a deviation above the 2021 high, and then we're going to go towards around 1700, 1600. The reason I say 1600 is because that would be the 2.618, or the around the 3.618 to 4.236 extension right here. Yeah, so around 1666, 1429 to 1666. Those are the two trajectories here for QNT. Now, ultra worst case scenario, I would say this is the worst case scenario where we come down to around 52 to 46, but if we end up losing 46, then that would be bad. That would be bearish. But this is my bias. This is what I'm thinking. We're just finishing up this B wave here. Let's take a look at CRV here. What's up, Erad? Erad is asking Corium, LCX, XLR, and ICP. Ian is asking for R&DR. Hope all is well, Vasil. Glad to have you here, bro. Stefan is asking for Tau. Okay. We'll first take a look at LCX. I think I made a chart here on LCX. So this is what I see on LCX. I think it's Wyckoff distribution on the macro time frame. But although it's Wyckoff distribution, I think it can still have a run above the 2021 highs. Right? This is our danger zone right here on LCX. At around the 70 cent to 90 cent region. Now, the only thing here about LCX is that this level must hold at 0.11834. And it may even come down to the 886 support at 10 cent. So you may see something like that. And always wait for closes, because you can have wicks below levels, But then if you wait for the close, it just retracts back above, right? It can violate the fib, so that's why you have to wait for the close. So yeah, this is what I'm thinking. I think we have what's called a upthrust after distribution, which would take you slightly above wave 3 high at around the 70 cent to 90 cent region, with the possibility of a move towards $1 to $1.10 or $1.15. So, and then we would come down for the C wave, because when I look at this structure, it doesn't look like accumulation. This is a distribution structure, because this was our run right here on LCX, where all the founders benefited right off its run, and they're distributing their bags off each push to the upside. And this is where the composite operator, or in other words, the hidden hand, the market maker, has the most liquidity to sell. Think about where they have the most liquidity, right? That would be when there's higher prices. So yeah, this is what I see on LCX. This is a 3, 4, and 5, or this is your A, B, and your C wave. Same type of a concept with Q and T, right? Let's take a look at R&DR. I made a nice chart here on R&DR. I'm just trying to remember which layout I put it on. I think it was this one, not sure. But we have bullish divergence here on the daily time frame. Maybe I put it on the CoinTrader Pro setup that I have here, or layout. Type it in. Okay, let's see here. So when I take a look at R&DR, I see something very similar to that of Bitcoin, right? You have this, look how many times we come up to this diagonal resistance over here. Like when you take a look at BTC, we're doing the exact same thing. You see this diagonal resistance on BTC? And then we have bullish divergence to go along with it. So let's see if we can get a move above these highs here at $4.30. As soon as you get above the 200-day moving average on R&DR, which would be around 567, then it's very likely that we're going to take out these highs at 13 bucks. Okay, these are your levels right here. I don't think the wave 5 will go too high. I think it'll just, I think max around 21 bucks. 21, maybe maybe 23, right? Still, it's still pretty good. That's around a 10x. Let's see. Or no, it's about 400, around 4 or 5x, right? And that's because it's a wave 5. This is what you tend to see. Yeah, so that's R&DR. Tony is asking for Dash. Yeah, let's take a look at Dash. No problem. It's a nice privacy coin. Rado is asking for ApeCoin and Sandbox, and you want to know if it's in recovery mode. Okay. You know, the thing I like about Dash is that every time it's taken out of floor or a price level, it's popped back above it. And with each floor we make, the price becomes more congested, right? Now, this does look like Wyckoff accumulation. You can consider it like a continued weakness schematic. I'll try to find it here. I think this is it right here. Like Wyckoff, it can manifest in many different forms. And one of them is where price just keeps making lower lows and lower highs. But if you look at the structure a little bit closer, every time it sweeps the low, it has a pop up. And the price just becomes more congested. Right? And then we pop off from there. So I'm thinking here on Dash we have something similar. Right? Okay, this is the wave count here on Dash. And I like that I see 5 waves down. You know, and we see the 5th wave dipping below this adjacent low back in July 2024 to August 2024. So that's the lows that were set 280 days ago. And then the 5th wave is wicking below it. Taking a look at the daily RSI here, You see how we also have a double bottom? Right here. So we have lower lows on the price, but then higher lows, slightly higher lows on the RSI. So that's pretty good to see on Dash. I would just want to see this level hold here at 20 bucks. And then you have a little bit of a ending diagonal right here. Okay, these are the supports. Looks pretty bullish. So yeah, I think it can make its way back to this make its way back to the 200-day SMA at least at around 30 bucks, and then back up to these range highs. These would be the resistance levels right here. Okay. So if this was truly the bottom on Dash, like around this region, this is where we would be targeting. Right here. You may even come up to this 1.618, see a back test, and then come up to around this region. So let's just see how this plays out, right? We would want to still keep looking towards BTC. It's still above our daily momentum indicator here. And we've been testing this trendline resistance about 4 times now, right? This is your first time, second, third, and fourth. So will we get a move back up here? We also have equal highs here. Do you guys see that? This is our equal high buy side. So it may take that out at around 88,465, which would also be where the liquidity is resting on the liquidity heat map. Right here, around $168 million dollar liquidation around that region. Let's go back to XRP. Just want to see what it's doing here. Doesn't ETH look exactly like what the S&P is doing right now? Like on the small time frame here? Like if you look at the S&P, it's very similar to that of ETH. Like this is S&P, and then this is ETH on the small time frame. Very similar like structure. We just need to flip above this momentum indicator and continue to hold above the 786 here at 1565. Let's take a look at Cake. Cake is a good coin. Okay, so Cake is popped back up above this 4-hour momentum indicator that we have here. It actually looks very similar to that of Dent in regards to the velocity at which it's moving at the moment. Okay. There's lots of demand here on Cake. It actually looks like ascending accumulation. Like if you take a look at just the market cap chart of Cake, you can see that we've never made any lower lows going all the way back to September 2023. But if you take a look at the USDT pair, it did make a new low. Right over here. During that buy bid hack. See how it wicked below this level? And then on Twitter, I wrote, if I was the composite operator, I would go all in right here. Because I knew that was just a spring in Wyckoff accumulation. And then we went up by over 170%. And now we're just ranging within this pennant. So I'm thinking I see Cake back up to these retracements here. These are your retracements. So around 246 to 257. So it'll probably do something like this, right? And just take out these highs. Okay, these are your range highs, your median, and then your range lows. Okay, then, so once we find these macro fibs, what we can do is take a fib from the drop off point before we enter into this capitulation. So we can get more confluence with the fibs. Okay, so these are your breakout targets here. And look at that confluence. Lines up perfectly, right? Even at the 1.786. So this region, and then up here. Okay, about 1,000 days so far of accumulation. So this would be your spring, this would be your test, and then this is your last point of support. We'll probably make another last point of support over here, and then you have what's called your sign of strength, or your SOS, before you come back down to the before you come back down to the top of the range, which would be called your backup phase. This would be your bear market. Worst case scenario, this is actually distribution, where this is an ABC correction, and then we come down like this. More of an optimistic outlook would be that this is a retest of this 1,000-day long range, and then we pop up from there for the next run at around 17 to 22. Right? See, the 50% fib is at 22 on the linear scale because the all-time high was 44. Okay, so something like that. Okay, so Raw Doggin is asking for ACH. That's a really good coin. I like that coin. It's within a compression structure, and I believe in the last stream we saw that it's still holding above the 200-day moving average. So, and then right after we'll take a look at MNT. Tony is asking for MNT, so let's just switch to XRP here. Let's see what's going on. Okay, let's see which way will XRP break. I think it comes up to around 211, but I could be wrong. It comes down and takes out this range low. We'll really have to look towards BTC here. What's BTC gonna do? Okay, so let's take a look at ACH here. And I think I made it on this chart right here. Okay, this is not it. It's okay, we'll just do it on this chart here. But as you guys can see, even if you take a look at it on the linear scale, just so you can get a better perspective on how the structure is moving, look at this 2022 resistance here from May to October. That was acting as resistance until it wasn't. So you even used it as resistance here. So this region. And then we finally broke through because bulls were able to get above. You see, we knocked on this door 3 times, and then the 4th attempt was a huge push to the upside. This was about 109% of a push above this of this supply. And then if we just extend this, we can see that it's holding. It's holding above it. and then you are making higher lows. Okay, so we'll switch this to the logarithmic scale. And as you guys can see, this is a bullish ascending triangle, and you see what I just showed you on the small time frame, how we came up to this resistance 3 times. Well, we came up to this macro resistance 3 times as well. So it's no different. It's just on a higher time frame perspective. And then we would be looking to take out this external range liquidity sitting at 18 cent. I do think that ACH does take out the highs, but in the case where it doesn't take out the highs, we would be targeting the 786 on the logarithmic scale. The 786 is sitting at around 0.093. Okay? Get above 0.093, then it's very likely we're going to take out this external range. Okay? So yeah, around 22 to 30 cent if we get above 0.09. And let's see if it's still holding above the 200 day. Yeah, it's still holding above the it's consolidating right above it, like just above it. So let's see. Here are the supports. And the interim resistance levels. Okay. As soon as you get above this high, and we come to test, as soon as you get above this internal range, liquidity, and then come to test this red line at 0.043 to 0.046, then it's very likely we're going to see the breakout. It would just make sense, because it's the same concept that I showed you over here. But yeah, this is ACH. Let's go to XRP again. So even if this was a fake out, I'm thinking this could be an A, B, and then a C like this, and then we come down. Or this C is just at the 100% fib, and then we come down from there. In the case where we lose $2.04, then we're going to come down to this region here at 201 and $1.99. But you can see how long XRP has been within this reaccumulation structure. It's been within this reaccumulation structure for about 138 days now. Think about how many people are shorting this, right? There's lots of people longing this as well, but I feel like more people are on the short side. Oh, thank you so much, Vasil and Mina. Appreciate the super chats. Thank you so much. So, Real Ice Bear is asking for Stargate Finance. Yeah, sure. We'll take a look. And then MNT. I want to see if there's any other coins I missed. Let's take a quick look at the S&P here, ES. on the 5-minute time frame. This is ES on the 5-minute time frame. It's not a, let me see. I don't even think the markets are open yet. Let me see. Are the markets, is the stock market not open today, or it opens later? I don't know. There's likely going to be less liquidity over the weekend because of the holiday. So we're going to see choppy price action. Plus, this is usually what you see on the weekends too. So we'll see. Okay, let's take a look at Stargate Finance. Mina is asking, what's your favorite coin at the moment chart-wise? Man, I really like Dent. I really like Dent. It's high risk. If you get above the 786 there, 30674, then it's likely we're going to take out this breaker block and fair value gap on the 4-hour. As soon as you get above this breaker block, then we can confirm that this in fact was an ending diagonal right over here. You see? Trying to find out where I put that Dent chart. But yeah, this is a very simplified chart that I have here on Dent. The reason I like this chart is because we have this deviation. And it looks exactly like how XLM and HBAR did before we popped off. This actually looks like Filecoin as well, where you have a head and shoulders structure at the lows. Okay, and we're targeting the 618. So if this pops off, then we'd be targeting the 618 at 0.0067. That's a conservative target right there. And what you can also do is take a trend base. So let's just say this was an ABC correction, right? In order to find the C wave, we're going to use a trend base fib to this. And you can see that when you use the trend base fib, look where the 1.702 is and the 1.618 and 1.786. It's right at that 618, right at this level. Okay, then we can also take a fib from this drop off point down to the low, and we can see that the 4.236 and 3.618 extension is at that same level. Do you guys see? So we have so much confluence here. And yeah, that would be about about a 10x. Now, always do your own due diligence. Just because I'm saying it has the potential to do 10x doesn't mean that it will. Always chart and see. But yeah, this is what I see. I like this deviation. Reminds me of XLM. Like if you take a look at XLM, like look at this, head and shoulders at the lows here. And then you had deviation below this low, these lows. H bar, same thing, right? This is H bar. Like imagine in the thick of it being an H bar holder right here. Like I remember this. This was like on social media, like many people were depressed right here. And then it just shoots right up like that. That's because of this deviation. It's all algo, right? That's where the market maker scoops up all of their coins. We can even see on Filecoin. See Filecoin, same thing. Okay, let's take a look at Stargate. Let me see if I have the right one. Stargate Finance. Let me see if this is on CoinTrader Pro. Okay, yeah, it's on CoinTrader Pro. I mean, this could be your A, B, C correction, but the question is this C wave finished or will she keep going lower? Like, and you would need, instead of jumping in right now, you should wait for confirmation above this break of structure right here. So if we get above 25 cents, then yeah, this may be worth paying attention to, right? However, there's nothing that tells us that the trend is finished yet to the downside. Like we can take a look at the daily time frame moving averages, such as the 21 and the 50. Okay, so you see how we're curling down from the 21 period on the daily? We would need to get above this 21 day and then the 50 day in order for us to say, oh, okay, the trend is shifting, because you see how it's below it right here? Now, where the supports would be in regards to the fibs, we can see that this is within a fifth wave here. So we could take a trend-based fib from the top of 1 to the bottom of 3, and up to the top of your wave 4. So basically it's the start of your trend to the end of your trend and up to the counter trend. So you just take a look at the 3 legs and then what's the counter trend after that. And you see it's come down to the 702 here. But there is a possibility that it comes down to this 786 at 0.145. So this is where I would be looking for a bounce on Stargate at this level right here. If you get below the 786, then yeah, it's gonna continue lower. And then you would remember in order to find confirmation, you would need to first get above the 21 and the 50-day. I like these equal highs here on ACH. See these equal highs here at 0.029? This is our equal high buy side. Right here. Okay. Looking for this level to get taken out. I also like this setup on QNT. Like it would be a really good swing, but I wouldn't put my money in yet. I would wait for more confirmation that the low is in. Because it's either that this is the low or we come down to around 52 to 45 and then we pop up from there. Like if we come down to around this region and then pop back up above the 200-day moving average, then I would buy that for the anticipation of a move just up to or just above this 2021 high. So about a 6-7x, that would be pretty good. You see what I'm thinking here? It's just a little bit of a bigger wave 4 where it forms more of a base, and then the wave 5 takes you to around like 2-3k. There's always been conspiracies and theories on why QNT fundamentally should hit 3k, but I think it's true, and it does hit 2-3k, but I don't think it hits it in 2025 or 2026. I think market makers are gonna sell off right here. Kind of like LCX, right? Like taking a look at LCX. Something like this. But instead of this dramatic C wave where we go below 0.0, where we go below the lows of the range, I think for QNT it's just going to be back to that same level or just a little bit below it. Maybe 34. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Thank you so much, Real Ice Bear, for the super chat. I appreciate that. And yeah, SDG, let's go back to it. We'll do a recap. Damn, I don't know where I put the chart. SDG here. Okay. You know, you know what I was talking about in my last stream, how we have a rising wedge and you can clearly see 5 waves, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 right here. What I've seen in the market is it tends to be a huge fake out, especially when you consider where the prices come from. Like, we came down from March 3rd about 46.4%, and that was 35 days ago. And then we have this rising wedge, right? So it makes sense why it would make sense if it would be a fake out, because when you go down that low, you have a lot of the market shorting, and they're in fear. So they short upon a break of this rising wedge, and then once it gets back up to these highs, then the majority flips bullish. Then you have a flush of some kind or some sort, and then we continue on with the trend and have bullish order flow. So let's see. Oh yeah, this was Stargate. It looks okay. It's on the 702 here. But let's not rule out the possibility of a move down to around this 786. And we would need to get, and of course we would need to get we would need to flip this resistance into support at 25 cent. Okay, so let's take a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map here. Around 86.5 still. I see us coming to. Let's see. A bear could argue that this is distribution. A bear could argue that. And then we would take out, and then the ultra worst case scenario is we take out these equal lows. I don't think that happens. I think we make our way up to the 200 day. And if we don't make our way up to the 200 day, then we'll just come down to these lower fibs and find support there around this region. Mina is asking, can you check if Zap is finally dead? That's hilarious. Thank you so much, Adam, for the super chat. Adam is asking, how high do you think XLM will go in this cycle? That's a great question. We'll take a look at XLM. XLM is looking pretty good here on the 30-minute. I think we charted this in the previous stream. Let me see here. Okay, so this is XLM. And if we take a fib from this low in October 2024, before we had the run to the upside, we came down to the 786. Whenever you come down to the 786, that would be considered an extreme. And we are still holding above this support here. Or sorry, this accumulation range high. Okay. So on the log scale, we just came down to the 1561.8% fib. But I notice the linear scale fibs are more accurate here. So you just have to see which is more accurate, the linear or the log. You can cycle between the two. Okay, so we're just going to take a fib from the all-time high down to the low. We're going to make it very simple and just take a look at it on the linear scale, the fib. Okay, right up here. So now that we've found these macro fibs by taking a fib from the 2018 high down to the lowest recorded price within this macro range that we have here, we're going to take a fib from this wave 3 high down to what we think is our wave 4 low. So if this is the low here at 0.203, then we would place a fib exactly like this. You see how XLM just came down to the mean of this macro range? Like, look how many times we used it as support here in 2018. 1, 2, 3, and then we dropped down. And then we used it as resistance in 2020, broke above it, used it as support in 2021, resistance here in 2022, in 2023, and now in 2025 we're coming back to it. So this is a very important level on XLM. Now you may see wicks below the median, but always look at the closes, because you can get a lot of fake outs in crypto. So we have a lot of confluence at around the let me see here, the $1.33 to $1.62 region. But I actually think it goes higher than that. So let's just see if there's, yeah, this lines up better, the log. Right here. Yeah, okay, this there's more confluence with the log fibs here. So these are your three levels that I'm looking at. If this is your wave 4 low, right? Wave 1, wave 2, third, fourth, and then you have your wave 5. Your wave 5 will probably top out at the 2.618, 2.786 at around 236 to 252. Have an A wave down, have a B wave up. There's no guarantee that we'll have this B wave. It can just top out here and then come down for the C wave like this to the top of the range at these last all-time highs. And then we go in for the next run. You see? So something like that. So these would be your 3 take profit levels, but I do think that it comes up to around 236 to 252, simply because this is the 2.618 when we take a fib from the all-time high down to the all-time low in March 2020. And then this level, of course, at $1.29 to $1.62. Right, so this would be TP1, TP2, and your TP3 right here. That makes sense. And if you really look at it on the weekly time frame, it would just be continuation. You have your run up, you have sideways accumulation for over 2,500 days, or sorry, 2,700 days. And now this would be your continuation. A, B, C, and then you have your push up. But yeah, that's XLM. What's up, Vic? Nice to have you here. We're going to take a look at Zap for Mina. I remember Zap in the last bull run went up pretty significant, but hasn't been doing too well recently. Like, I just took a quick glance at it, so we'll just take a look at it again here. It's still holding this support. That's what I've noticed. It's like every time I look at this chart, it manages to hold this support, this structural support right here. Like, look at that. It's still holding. Almost as if there's like a buy wall here, right? This is a very low liquidity coin, but they're keeping it alive here. And if you look in going up to the March 2024 high, this went up about 8.6x. And it just reverted back down to the lows. So it's still holding. Still holding. But you see how the wicks look? That's because there's hardly any liquidity. But it does look like there's a buy wall here. Okay, there you go, that's that. Looks fine still. Still managing to hold this structural support. So this is MNT coin. I think it's going to come down to these lows. Something like that. Yeah, this is what I think on MNT. I think it's a big range. And we're below all of the daily EMAs. So we are trending down on it, MNT. Okay, that's MNT. So I want to see how the price reacts around 57 to 51 cent, because this could be a flat pattern and then we have a push up to these highs or even the yearly open. There is a possibility of that, right? Or this is something a little bit, or this is a little bit more of a bigger structure than we can see at the moment. Like when we take a fib from October 2023 lows up to this high in April 2024, we do see that that would be around the 61.8% fib. Do you guys see that? Around this level. So let's see where the 702 is. It's around that same level here that we have marked out. Okay, yeah, that's MNT. Let's see if Bitcoin is going to break down or going to see it pop back up. Taking a look at Jasmy here, this could be an ABC correction like this. We did come down to the 618. You see how we perfectly tapped the 618? So let's just see, is this the low right here on Jasmy? Because this is a 3-wave move down, a 3-wave move up, and then this is your 5-wave move. This could be a 3, 4, and 5, and then the C wave is terminated at the 618. Worst case scenario, this is your wave 4, and then we come down for a wave 5 like that. But in a scenario in which it comes back down to these lows at the 618 on Jasmy, then it's likely in a bigger correction where it's going to come down to tap these 2023 range highs. We've already tapped into it, but it could come down and double tap it and then pop up from there, right? Kind of reminds me of TEL. Like with TEL, it perfectly came down to the top of the range in an ABC correction. Let's see. So you see TEL? This was your ABC, and notice how the C wave comes down below the bottom of your A. This is your A, your B, and then your C down. I like the structure of TEL, like it's really bullish. Okay guys, this was just gonna be a quick stream. I just wanted to show you guys where the market is currently. Let's just take a look at XRP one more time before I end this stream here. And like I said, it's still holding the 200-day moving average. These are the wave 5 targets right here. Okay, these are the wave 5 targets. I hope you guys enjoyed the live. We'll try to do another live tomorrow or on Sunday. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the live. I'll make sure to answer all of your questions in the next live. For all those who haven't got their questions responded to. But yeah, hope you guys have a great holiday and an amazing weekend. Peace out. Take it easy. See you guys in the next one.